Brianna from Riatta here, and I'm here today with Sheree from Sheramic. Now that's a bit of a play on words of your name, right?
It is, it is.
That's cool. And she's agreed to come in and talk to us about her lovely ceramics that she makes, these beautiful plates.
Yep.
And she does quite a few different ones, like little bowls. And little plates.
Yep.
So what got you first into making ceramics?
I did a pottery class about 5 years ago, just a basic one at a community college because I was feeling really stressed at work. I'm a teacher, I'm an English teacher. I'm not formally trained in pottery, but I just went and did this course. It was every Monday night for 8 weeks. Met some lovely people who were also just stressed to the eyeballs with their work and wanted to do something. So I learned how to use a pottery wheel and also some hand building and other techniques with pottery. And I found that hand building was more my style because it's so imperfect. So I embrace the imperfect nature of my pottery.
Because some of them are more of a more traditional shape, but as you said, the imperfect nature of some of them is also what I think makes your product, like your plates, really unique. Yeah. And it's like beautiful, the shapes that you've come up with.
Well, I think I really like the organic shapes that I create because it makes them unique, but also it's different. Why would you make something that's perfect? You may as well go to a shop and buy a dinner set. So I like something that's a little bit unique, put on the table to display food.
Yeah. Now, as you said, like to start with, it was like a hobby and for stress relief. Do you still find it that way? It hasn't become more of a chore?
It's not a chore. It's a business now. It'll be, in a couple of months' time, it'll be a year old, my business. I love it so much. That's why I turned it into a business. I suffer from insomnia. So I find that it really helps that when I get up in the middle of the night, I can go and do this. I'm not very good at Pilates or meditation or those sort of things, although I should say it probably is my meditation because I don't think about anything else when I'm doing my pottery, and just hand building is such a slow, lovely process that it actually helps relieve the stress, which wasn't the reason I got into pottery, but it certainly helped. So,
but that is really nice that it's been able to help you with
Indeed.
that. And you like to do a lot of like mending and upcycling with a lot of the stuff.
I do that in my pottery as well. I reclaim a lot of pottery. I go to op shops and auctions and people that like to give me things, or I've been on the side of the road. I pick up pieces that talk to me. So I like to do that and give it a home for a while, and then when I have finished with it, I either give them as gifts or I sell them at markets and that sort of thing, so other people can enjoy them. I also mend and make things. I've made my skirt today. I make a lot of my clothes, but it comes naturally because my mother's very much like that, because her mother was like that, and it just comes naturally.
So you've obviously, this whole mending and upcycling has been like a part of your life from quite a young age then.
Absolutely. My grandmother was one of 18 children.
Wow.
Grew up in Leichhardt, very poor family, and you had to make things because you didn't have the money. So as I said, that it's instilled into my mother, who's instilled that into my brothers and sister and myself, and it's just how I am. It's not an effort. It's not something that I mindfully do. It's just how I am.
Yeah. And so you've done it in your pottery, you do it with your clothes. What would be one of the more creative or unusual times that you've done it? Can you think of any?
Well, I cut my own hair. I won't go to a hairdresser. I've cut my hair since I was at university, and my mum did it before then. I think I've only been to a hairdresser maybe 3 times in my life. That's unusual for people, especially a woman, because hair is really important to people. It's not to me, but it grows again. That's the way I look at it. One of the most unusual, let me think. I recycle a lot of, pretty much everything in my house is upcycled. I collect things, people have donated things to me, or my furniture. I've got very few things I've actually purchased that is brand new. And I often, sandpaper back, paint tables and that sort of thing to give them a new lease of life. So I've got some really eclectic pieces, really bright pieces like this blue colour. As you can see, I like colour, so that's sort of in my house as well.
Some of the colours you get in your plates are just beautiful.
Well, that's translated through my house as well. I like colour, so that's probably the only unusual thing really. Is that I managed to bring a whole bunch of different things, eclectic things, put them into a space, whether it be my pottery with clothes, with my furniture, and it just works somehow.
Ties together. That's really cool. And you also have a veggie patch.
I do. It's growing. It's growing. It's growing.
How long have you been working on that for?
Let me see. I've been in my home 7 years now. And when I first bought the piece of land, my house, it was a tiny little rundown house, and it still is, and I love it. And it's small, but that's okay. But it had a really beautiful big backyard, and that's why I got it. And because I'm on a main road, people wouldn't even realise I've got this lovely, glorious backyard. And it's probably now half a veggie patch, so half, self-sustained gardening, and the other half is still grass, unfortunately, but I'm working on that. I suppose my chickens and ducks need a little bit of area to nibble. So I've probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 beds now. So I'm growing lots.
And what was the first thing you started growing, and what else are you growing at the moment?
The first thing I grew was mint, because that grows.
Yes, it grows like a weed.
And my mum neglected to tell me that it should stay in a pot, so I put it in one of the veggie beds. The same with chamomile, and it just took over the whole bed, which is lovely, and feel a sense of achievement by growing something that is nice and green and lush. But so I've had to. That's been a battle, but that's the first thing I've grown. But
I have learned that lesson with mint myself.
I've diversified. I still grow a lot of herbs. That seems to be the thing that I can grow. But vegetables as well now.
So mainly herbs and vegetables. And what prompted you to start that? Was it knowing where they came from, or more of a hobby, or did you have concerns about buying them from the supermarket?
Like with the other part of my nature is I'm a perfectionist, and that's why I like the imperfect, bespoke nature of pottery and that sort of thing. But I'm also, and I guess that's just the product of our world now, is I'm not very... I don't have much patience. I can say now I'm a lot more tolerant of people and things, but I really lacked that, and I think that was part of my stress, or adding to my stress. So like with pottery and the slow making of pottery, it's the same with veggie growing. It's very easy to go and buy a bag of apples, not realising how long it actually takes to make those apples, and it's the same thing. So I'm really mindful. So if I'm growing corn at the moment, and last night I enjoyed a cob of corn, just knowing how long it's taken to make, as opposed to buying a bag of corn. So that's the reasoning mainly. I got into gardening, and part of that stress release again. Getting your hands dirty, whether it's in clay, whether it's in dirt, it's just really relaxes me.
And you've actually just started your own pottery classes.
Starting. My first class is on Saturday, and it's fully booked, so I'm very excited by that. And then I've got another 2 coming up, and it's all about hand building, because like I said, I'm not formally trained. I am a teacher, but I'm not formally trained in pottery, and I figure people are really enjoying my pieces, and why not share that knowledge, and instead of a YouTube clip, come and sit with me and we have a bit of fun and learn to make a couple of pieces. So the first things we're making is a mug. It's a breakfast set. So a bowl, cereal bowl, a mug, and a spoon. So it's going to be fun.
And what are some of the first things you're going to teach them to be able to do that?
Okay, it's all about pinch pots.
Where's a good place to start?
Okay, it's all about pinch pots. So that's a pinch pot, that's a pinch pot. So it's as simple as... I actually
really love the shape of this little one.
Thank you. So it's just a ball of clay. So that's obviously a smaller ball of clay than this one. Then a bowl, and it's a matter of just sticking your thumb in, and then slowly, as the name suggests, pinching. And again, it's a slow process. Clay, like plants, you try and rush the process. They either die or crack or whatever. So it really is just that mindful, slow enjoyment of just pinching the pot around to get to the size and shape and thickness that you want. So that's what they're going to do with a breakfast bowl as well as a mug.
Well, I'm sure they'll love that.
That
should be good. It's going to be really good.
I'm looking forward to it.
And where do you see your pottery going in the future?
Okay, well...
Do you see yourself doing it a long time?
Well, I'm really enjoying it. Like I said to you, it's only nearly a year old, and it hasn't become a chore yet, which is what you referred to earlier. certainly there are times where I need to fill orders and that sort of thing when I might not be in that creative headspace.
Yeah.
And so in those times it's a little bit challenging, but it also focuses you on what you're passionate about, so inevitably you are happier anyway. And it feeds your soul. That's the other reason I got into pottery. There was something not right in my life, something was missing, so that was the other reason I got into pottery. Sorry to go off on a tangent there.
No, that is.
Yeah, so...
That sounds really good. And in terms of like green living and your green lifestyle in general, for someone starting out, what would be your top tips for them?
Not put mint in a veggie patch. Start small and grow something that you actually want to eat. There's no point, I don't grow passion fruit, for example, which is quite easy to grow because I don't like passion fruit. Lettuce, radish, things that are quick growing. Get others involved, something where you get some sort of sense of achievement sort of quickly is probably the best thing, yeah. I also get some books and things that show you what to plant and when, otherwise it can be quite disheartening when things keep dying on you because you're planting things at one time of the year. So again, it goes back to that whole thing of I want a bag of apples, doesn't matter what time of the year it is, you can always access them at the shop, whereas with gardening you learn when things are supposed to be planted and grown.
And you learn more of the process.
Absolutely, yeah, and what's more nutritious at what times of the year, that sort of thing. So
thanks for that. And for you, what has been the most rewarding part of the whole greener lifestyle?
Again, it's that whole mindful living.
Mindful.
It's also about decluttering my life, getting rid of those stresses that are just not necessary in my life, that things that I've either created or your environment that you have no control over. But I have control over my home, and that's where I have a very mindful, minimalist existence. And I almost thrive on trying to do better each and every year on getting rid of things and decluttering my mind and my space. Yeah.
And just, as you said, like getting a little bit better every year, like small improvements towards just being happier and healthier.
All the time. And I tend to, and that's the beauty of Instagram, is meeting like-minded people. So I go to crop swaps now. I went to my first one at Long Jetty and I took some of my products that I can grow and I managed to have a chat with other people that grew things that I didn't know about, and we did a swap, and it's just engaging with people that are similar to me and they're out there. So that's the beauty of Instagram. I love it. Yeah.
That's really lovely. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. Before we finish up, is there anything else you'd like to share or that's on your mind?
I just think people need to, declutter their lives and find pleasure in really basic, simple living. And greener living.